Wagwan, sports fans. Welcome back to a very special episode of Student Talks. The play, and this are that sports TV the place. You guys come to get the best, most interesting and riveting sports topics, discussions, and debates on the internet.
Yes, people. Before we get into today's video, it's a live. Sorry, people. I don't know what's going on. Before we get into today's live, don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment and subscribe to this or that sports TV. Do one more thing for us, though.
Share the video to at least 10 people and ensure that you get us at least 6 subscribers, because if each and every one of you guys can manage to get us 6 subscribers, you know how many subscribers that get us by the end of the day?
A lot. Go on, people. As you come in, just drop a comment in the live chat and make a reason a little bit. Have some small talk before we get into it. Make your life build up a little bit. People, this is Studio Talk. Usually it's a premiere, usually it's a pre-recorded video that we premiere. But today we decided to make it live. A special episode because we want some interaction on this one. And we're going to give you guys some insight into a situation that you really want the insight into. So, yeah, give us that interaction. How go on, bro? How you stay?
This are that sports TV, bro. When we talk about investigative journalism, I'm not going to try and monopolize that aspect because we have people like Ryan and like Simon who trust me. Them do it. You get me? I say you have to give them props because they go out and they get their information. Military Guna also goes out and gets his information. So I'm not gonna sit down here and say, are we are the only people that will do it? But they aren't the only persons that do it. And this or that sports TV does it as well. And we are here with some I think revealing information about the controversy that happened or is happening with the Chapelton Maroons people. There's a lot to unpack, and today we'll unpack that. Also, we'll be speaking about some ways to fix the Premier League in Jamaica and to fix Jamaican football development on a whole. Rush doesn't have much insight in this, so he'll be learning just as much as you guys will be learning. So he'll be able to ask some of the questions that that you guys probably want to ask, and I think that's the better way to structure it. So me and Rush never discussed the topic or anything that I'm about to reveal to you guys right now.
Yeah, straight up. As much as people, as you guys come in, just start leave some comments same time. So okay, interesting. Let's hear it, guys, because in my mind, Lenny getting a fight. We're gonna find out.
As I said, we are going to. You see, somebody said that, and Rush. Let's just say it's a lot to unpack. And the source that I have, although wanting to remain anonymous, is a very very credible source. He's basically a part of the Clarendon College football setup. So he's a part of that whole setup. He's well involved with the football. In fact, he's at all of their games, and he's somebody that not many people would notice. But me and Rush should have been to games before and would have seen him. Rush knows the person as well. So this is a person that is very involved with Clarendon College, and it's a person who come from town, and you'll be surprised. Why am I watch so much D-Cup game? You get me? I say so this is a person that's well involved with the Clarendon College setup, and I definitely can't wait to share the whole.
All right. Before we get into it, though, let's do a little bit of recap. So, let's say a week and a half ago, we heard that Coach Hyde is being relieved of his duties. He was sacked by the Chapelton Maroons FC. Shocked a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was on the airwaves of Jamaican radio. It was on YouTube, lives, traditional media. They were talking about it. So it shocked everybody. We were wondering what is going on. When you hear about Chapelton Maroons, you think about Lenny. When you hear about Lenny, you think about Chapelton Maroons. So how can they be parting ways right now so early in their Premier League success? The club is so young. How is this happening? So a lot of people wanted to know what's going on. After that, we saw that a lot of the players from Chapelton Maroons and Clarendon College are now leaving the club strapped for players. The club as a shortage. This is all public knowledge, by the way. So this is no insight. This is just what we already know that's out there, right? No, the club is at a shortage for professional players.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't turn up to their match against Mount Pleasant. They got punished. So they lost points, the 3 points that for the match against Mount Pleasant, and they are punished the additional 6 points, for not turning up. So that's their sanction. Oh my God, that is going on. So people, we're gonna break it down and we're gonna get right into it. Again, talk to us. Fresh God say big up Fresh and Jomar, big up Fresh God, big up emails every time. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel, people. Big up. By the way, emails start tomorrow, people. Check it out. But let's go though.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. So you want me to get right into it,
you
or?
can start your monologue or you set it up or you want to set it up. You know.
All right. So as I said, people, this is information, and the source of this information really wanted to get this out because he himself would have been very frustrated with what's going on with the Chapelton Maroon situation. So me and Rush obviously attempting so hard to find out what's going on. Rush should have tried to tap into people that he knows, and it just so happened that I was the one who got the information. So essentially, people, not many people would have known this, but the Chapelton Maroons, because Rush, me and you will never know what is Chapelton Maroons until this season. Let's be
Yeah,
completely honest.
yeah.
And they had a meteoric rise in Jamaican football, playing off to represent Clarendon in the Tier 2, or what we know as the Super League, and dominating and getting promotion to the Premier League, even after only being incepted just a few years ago. During the COVID time or whatever. And this came out of nowhere. So imagine a team being promoted to the Premier League, right? With just schoolboys. That was the situation. And not only mature schoolboys, these are schoolboys that were like 16 and 17, essentially because of COVID, not necessarily playing a lot of football, so getting the chance to play basically a full season in the Tier 2, not having to worry about the schoolboy football situation and so on and so forth. Because as you would have known, last season was a shorter season that didn't start when it was supposed to start, and that football would have came back. You know how it goes. Last season was already football, so the Chapelton Maroons would have been predominantly boasted by Clarendon College people. Now that is general knowledge. What I want to do is take you back to the very, very beginning of Chapelton Maroons and where it all started. A lot of football loyalists, a lot of people who know Jamaican football would have known about a football academy. And if not know about it, would have heard the name Jogo Bonita, football academy. A lot of people would have heard about it. If not, it's not as renowned as, let's say, Ballers or Phoenix or whatever, because they're predominantly focused on getting people away playing professional football or getting scholarships. There was a Jamaica College standout recently, if I'm not mistaken, his name was Jaime Bennett. Recently playing a couple of seasons for Jamaica College. He played in the Manning Cup this season. Then he dropped back to Coast, and when JC were eliminated from Coast, he dropped all the way down to under 14. That was and representing JC at all levels in one season. That in of itself is remarkable. He's now currently away. He's now currently away, if I'm not mistaken, at the Inter Miami Academy right now at such a young age. There's also other players in Lisbon, so on and so forth, from this academy, this Jogo Bonita Academy. So they're an academy that works with youngsters, similar to what a Phoenix does, to what a Mount Pleasant does, to what a Ballers does. That's what they do. No, this academy was based in Portmore. Not both. This academy is based in Portmore. So the person took offense. The person took offense to me saying that Clarendon College are high on recruiting, as high as Jamaica College is. They said that is not the case. They said essentially what would have happened is because the academy is located in Portmore, right? And they have most of their players from like 9 or 10 years old. 9 or 10 years old, they grow up and they needed a place to keep these players playing together, to keep these players together. And Coach Sammy, a lot of people in Jamaica football would be familiar with Clarendon College's senior assistant coach. He would have been there. He's there with Lenny Hyde everywhere you go. He's there with Clarendon College everywhere you go. Which I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Yeah,
The,
man.
the brown man, Coach Sammy, whatever. Oh, we used to see him at Barbican sometime when we would have like go train and them thing there.
Yeah.
He's a big part of the Clarendon College team over the past couple of years, as you don't know. And he's apparently, according to my source, the best coach in the nation. You know,
Mm.
according to my source, he's the best coach in the nation. He's responsible for developing every single player you've seen come through Clarendon College over the last half decade. Coach Sammy is the reason for this. So Coach Sammy is a part of Jogo Bonito, and because he's at Clarendon College, um, they just have all the kids, regardless of the school that they pass for, regardless of where them come from, go to Clarendon College.
So pause.
Yeah.
So what is happening is similar to like how we have a situation with Phoenix or Mona, where the players don't necessarily they aren't being recruited to the school.
Champion.
Yeah, so they're not being recruited to the school. So CC now go out and look for players.
Yeah.
It's more like CC have a relationship with Jogo Bonita through them assistant coach.
Yeah.
And because the assistant coach want to keep the youth them around, him bring them a CC. It's just a relationship with the academy and the school. It's not them necessarily recruiting, but them just come together, basically. CC, Jogo Bonita, one and the same.
So the likes of the one and the same. CC and Jogo Bonito, one and the same essentially. So the likes of Reed and Dixon and Okimo Jones and so on and so forth. All of those players are from the Kingston metropolitan area. Central Kingston, Portmore, Denham Town, all of those players that you see starring for Clarendon College, except for one Romeo Daniels, is from the urban area.
The
And
goalkeeper.
except for the goalkeeper. And that's a shocking fact. That's a shocking fact. And it's weird. The goalkeeper is one of the best players on the team. So ironic that he's a Clarendon native. So that point that I made about somebody saying that these players, remember in the conversation that we have, they said that these players aren't patriotic because they decided to up and leave. And my response to that was, it's not about patriotism because none of them are from Chapelton. None of them are even from Clarendon. And that's exactly what has been confirmed. Like the majority of these players, them come from town. And to be honest, when we speak to them, obviously people, I'm not say country people talk bad, but country people speak differently than we do.
Them sound like town man.
And it has been confirmed that the vast majority.
We're not offend the country people, but let's talk about ourselves. Them sound like town man.
Rush, you know me. I know my relationship with country people. You get me I say? So in my opinion, country people are the best type of people. I can say that you get me I say? So we don't have no problem. But the way people from the rural area speaks definitely differs from how somebody from the urban area speaks. So you could have seen with interviews that these guys are not from Clarendon. My sister-in-law, civil engineer, she's from Clarendon, and we can hear it when she ready to start talk. We can hear the Clarendon in her. You get me? I say so. There's definitely a difference, and these boys are obviously not from Clarendon, and it has been confirmed that the vast majority of them are from Kingston. And suppose me to tell you, Rush, say one Javier Lynch and one Jamon Bartley are members and now graduates of the Jogo Bonito Academy. Yeah. So Jamon Bartley, former Kingston College captain, now playing NCAA soccer, was a former Jogo Bonito member, and Javier Lynch was also a former Jogo Bonito member. Now I would ask the source, how come them youth never go CC? And at the end of the day, Dujan Richards goes to KC, Dylan John goes to JC, Jamani Bell goes to Wolmer's, right? Though they're all Phoenix players. Some people just go want them son go which part them go.
Yeah.
So apparently there are a few of them in Calabar, there are a few of them in JC, there are a few of them in Wolmer's, there are a few of them all over the situation. And the reason why Javier Lynch ended up at Wolmer's was because about 6 years ago, Coach Sammy would have gone to Wolmer's High School. Before going to Clarendon College, he would have gone to Wolmer's High School. So that's how Javier Lynch ended up at Wolmer's. When Coach Sammy moved to Clarendon, his mother was like, I'm not sending my son to Clarendon to go on board. She want to get up and cook breakfast for her son in the morning. And I mean, nothing wrong with that. You get me? I say, me personally, had it been my kid, go on where go. You get me? I say, go on go board and learn how to spread better and them things there. But some of the parents, it's the same with the Jaheim Bennett youth, the MVP for under 14 last season from JC. He was supposed to go to Clarendon College in grade 9. But his mother never want to let him go. when him at 11 years old and 12 years old. Apparently me I hear say when him did pass for he passed for Dunoon. And when his mother said that he was going to JC, he cried. He said, I want to go CC with all of my friends, them. I want to go Clarendon College with all of my friends. Because apparently at the under 14 level, Joga Bonito, under 16 level, Joga Bonito, and obviously at the Manning Cup level, Joga Bonito. So apparently when him mother said, oh, JC, him go, him cry. More go CC, more go CC. But his mother just now go let go a little baby boy. Forgot Clarendon College. Even though I'm literally in a different country right now. But we're not got help on the matter there. So yeah, a few standout players. Another member of the Joga Bonito setup was Lamar Walker. And we'll come back to Lamar Walker situation. But Rush, which school Lamar Walker used to go? Clarendon College. You get me? So we'll come back to the Lamar Walker situation. Anyway, Joga Bonito, as I said, is based in Portmore. You get me? And they were once associated with the Portmore United team. So Portmore United was their feeder program. So like ballers would have come through Joga Bonito, go CC, then left and go play for Portmore United. Right? But one thing him highlight to me is that all of his players have gone to so many different clubs. Not one has gone to Portmore United. And it was because Portmore United, the situation with Lamar Walker and the sale of Lamar Walker and Joga Bonito was not compensated in that situation. So Joga Bonito cut ties with Portmore United.
Oh.
That's why none of the recent Chapelton Maroons player that would have left, none of them went to Portmore United. And it's like, you don't see that weird, you see Veer, you see Arnett, you see Harborview, you get me? I say you see so many clubs. Not one to Portmore, which is weird because Portmore seems to be a hotspot and a great destination for good talent in this year JPL. Even if you went to Mount Pleasant, so on and so forth. So when you think about that, you would say, why them not go to Portmore? You get me? I say?
Seeing that Joga Bonito is already in Portmore.
Yeah, exactly. So now what would have happened now? All of them, the youth them end up go CC. They continue playing together, they continue training together in their holidays. When they're not at CC, then they're at Portmore, because they go back home, of course. They might play for them club. They might play for them club in academy, so on and so forth. And apparently, Joga Bonito, during COVID, all through, it was them, Ballers and Phoenix, would have been playing friendlies all the time. So our next Easter egg would have been the Mona High School versus Clarendon College game. Apparently that match was a grudge match from the summer. Basically a Joga Bonito versus Phoenix type situation, just missing Dejan Richards. That was the only factor that would have been missing from that situation in the CC versus Mona game. So this is where all the Clarendon College players. So he was like, please come correct when you talk about Clarendon College recruiting like Jamaica College. He's saying that's not the case. All these boys come to Clarendon College because Coach Sammy has been coaching them from their 8 and 9. And we know how good at developing football as Coach Sammy is. So that's not surprising to me that he's involved in youth development. So when all these players go to Clarendon College, all of them play together, all of them play in the Manning Cup. Now, here's the deficit. The person that I spoke to does not possess the requisite qualifications to coach at a certain level. Right? Same with Coach Sammy. Surprisingly, he just has not gotten his qualifications to coach at a certain level. So, they needed a figurehead to coach both Clarendon College and then obviously Chapelton Maroons later, and we'll continue to speak about that. So what I'm hearing is that Lenny Hyde is a very good manager of people, but as a tactician, as a coach, he is subpar at best. I'm hearing this quote unquote Lenny ball is more like Sammy ball. So I'm hearing that the assistant coach for Clarendon College is really the mastermind behind everything, but because he's like at Joga Bonito or whatever, he just plays his role, develops the players, trains the players, and Lenny Hyde is the head coach.
But Lenny is just the face.
Yeah, and to be honest, we've heard this at other schools. Rush, me and you have heard about assistant coaches that are actually running a program and the head coach is just short. Obviously, we're not going to call a name, but we're aware of the situation that's happening.
Yeah, and it is true because they don't have certain qualifications. Like you speak about Coach Sammy or whatever, because probably don't have the the DR, the A license that is, maybe say the C license that is required, to be registered as a coach to play in to compete in say JPL or anything under JFF. You just don't have the qualifications. So here what? I know this coach. I know say him alright or I'm good enough. Plus he have a good name and him can attract people to the club or to the school. Let's work with him. Probably. And to be fair, Lenny gives props to Coach Sammy. Even in our interview that we did with him, he will mention it to him.
Yeah.
He mentioned his name and say, yo, Coach Sammy come up with this system with me. So that's actually probably surprising to a lot of people that he's just the figurehead, and probably figurehead is probably a little bit of exaggeration, but Coach Sammy is the man.
I'm hearing that these boys from their 9 and 10, the product is continuing to be owned. Clarendon College always does well at the under 14 and under 16 level. That's no surprise. Coach Sammy has a big hand in those programs as well. And then Lenny Hyde gets polished, finished products who already have been playing in a 4-3-3 system, pass and move system from they were kids. So Coach Sammy tell Lenny Hyde how to set them up on the football field, and Lenny Hyde just manages the personality, So that's basically what has been happening in this Clarendon College situation, bro.
We'll take it.
It's
What do you think about that? While Joe Mara agreed more on the story, maybe don't want to think about that. Coach Lenny Hyde is just the face of the program, but the real coach, the real football mastermind is Coach Sammy. Is that surprising to you guys? How do you feel about that one day? Go on, make it
all right, so there's a next aspect of it now. This would be I guess, so that chapter would be the beginnings. Because we're speaking about Chapelton Maroons, and I've not mentioned Chapelton Maroons not once, I know. So that section would be the beginnings, right? That's how it all started. Now let's speak about Chapelton Maroons and its connection with CC and Joga Bonita, right? Joga Bonita, as I said, is an academy. And in football, academy graduates at 17 or 18 years old. However, what was happening was that Joga Bonita would have some kids that were becoming older, because they're so oriented on youth, because they're so focused on youth development, they don't have anything to do with these older players. And as such, they never have nothing to do with them. Like, what you do at an academy at 18, 19 years old, you need to be playing serious football. So what would happen is most of them would disperse, and most of them would go here, there, and everywhere. As I said, the likes of Jamon Bartley, you get what I say? Who would have played some football elsewhere for the time being before leaving and going to school. And this was the reason why they decided that here what we need to find somewhere to put these boys together to play club football, to keep them together, the JPL, until them go foreign or until them go to school. So they're like, okay, first things first, where is best to start a club that can get to the JPL as quickly as possible? Yes, we are based in Portmore, but the majority of our boys spend most of their time in Clarendon because of the connection with Clarendon College. And then you consider that to get in the JPL from outer St. Catherine FA, that's going to be a tough one.
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to qualify through the tiers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kasafa and St. Catherine are the two most competitive FAs.
Yeah. So
our divisions.
So they decided and they weighed their options, and they're like, where can we go? And they're just a few miles up the road from Clarendon College, is Chapelton. And Chapelton had a nice field, and the owner of the Chapelton, if I'm not mistaken, a very wealthy man. I think he's the chairman for Supreme Ventures, if I'm not mistaken. The owner for that park area. He also lives not on the field, but lives on the venue, right? And Joga Bonita approached him and said, here what, we know you're a wealthy person. We want to partner, give you some shares in a startup Premier League club, and we split this. I wasn't told the details as to exactly how they split it between the chairman of Joga Bonita and that person who stayed there, and they decided that okay, we'll do it, and they called this club the Chapelton Maroon simply because they were based in Chapelton. But deep down, it was Joga Bonita. But because in order to accumulate the funding to put together a club, because it's not cheap it's not cheap to run a football club. You know, it's not cheap to do all that, and the people who run Joga Bonita probably couldn't do that all by
Yeah.
themselves. So they're like, all right, let's partner it and just rebrand it and have the boys from Joga Bonita continue to play. And they said Clarendon was also an easy FA to qualify out of to get to go and play in the Super League. They said the Clarendon FA was easy. So they went and they had the playoff, they put the team together, they agreed on terms, they had the playoffs, and just like that, Clarendon Maroons were now able to play for Premier League promotion. So that's basically the inception. So they were like, all right, these boys need somewhere to play after they're 16 years old, right? They need to compete against adults. They need to get their skills sharpened and honed so that they can be better for it, you know. And if they're playing together, they're playing still at a young age, before 18, before it's time to move on. So like 16 and 17, they can play in the JPL against good talent before they move on to either to pros, and then if they're still playing at 18 and 19, we know that those ones are going to move on to NCAA. But from between 16 to 20, this is where they would be playing in the JPL or, you know, in one of the national leagues. So
Yeah.
they played and they secured qualification with, I think, 20 schoolboys on the team. You know, and Lenny Hyde was implemented as the head coach at the Chapelton Maroon situation, considering that he possessed all the badges, so on and so forth. You know, so it was still Jogo Bonito, but Lenny Hyde was just once again given the mantle of head coach. And Lenny Hyde was not going to turn that down because he's been paid from Clarendon and he's now been paid from Chapelton Maroons. And he doesn't necessarily have the pressure of ensuring that these kids are playing the way they're supposed to play, because apparently Coach Sammy and the Joga Bonita staff are responsible for ensuring the success of these kids, you know, Clarendon College athletes, Joga Bonita Academy players, and now Chapelton Maroon players. So first season, they went through and they secured qualification. They came second in their league, secured qualification to go to the JPL. And and this was a big feat considering that it was only schoolboys, right? So now this was where trouble in paradise began. So they got the funding from the JFF and the JPL and so on and so forth. And apparently Joga Bonita had $1.8 million in debt because running the academy, they had to take loans and so on to keep it afloat. So when the Premier League money come, you know, apparently Joga Bonito, the representative from Joga Bonito, would have taken the money and cleared the loan.
Right.
And that started a rift between their partner, a very wealthy man who is, you know, I'm still not sure about the financial.
The man that owned the field.
Yeah, the man who owned the area and is a part owner of the club.
Of the club.
You know, he had an issue with that because he's like, yo, we're not thief the money, blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah.
And to be fair, yes, we brought the players. Yes, it's our academy that produced the players. But me, I found that competition where we just compete in and dominate, and I am a part of the promotion process. We had the money go pay off loan from Reggie. If you think about it, I understand him have a valid point.
Pound wise and penny foolish, that's what they call it.
True.
Pound wise and penny foolish, that's what they call it. Because
True. We can't hear what I say. Personally, I disagree because at this the money I come from, and if you can keep that afloat, then it will benefit you in the long run. I get it, but I see where I come from. It probably just a look on the money side.
So that's where the rift began, and obviously from that point on, Joga Bonita decided to disassociate themselves with the Chapelton Maroons. So like from that point on, the person who I spoke to, Coach Sammy, so on and so forth, no longer went to Joga Bonita training. Remember, Lenny Hyde is not a part of Joga Bonita, right? Lenny Hyde
went to Joga Bonita training or Chapelton Maroons training.
The Coach Sammy stopped going to Chapelton Maroons training, and the person, because Joga Bonita now disassociated themselves from Chapelton Maroons.
Yeah, but you said a while ago you said them stop go Joga Bonita training. So
them still go Joga Bonita training. They're still Joga Bonita members, but them stop go the coaches that matter, not the players, you know.
I understand, man.
Yeah, Coach Sammy and the person who I spoke to, and everybody who run the academy, decided that they were going to just stop, nothing with the club team, focus on CC, focus on the academy, right? Because him a go look upon them and call them this and call them that and call them that. So they just decided to part ways, because of the disrespect. But they would have told the boys, right? They would have told the boys, don't stop. You get me? I say, continue playing for Chapelton Maroons because it will give you an opportunity to stay together. It will give you an opportunity to not have to worry about leaving school because they emphasize education. So even after January now, we know that the majority of players who would star in the Manning Cup aren't really that big on school or completing their education. They wanted these boys to finish their education. And the person that I'm talking to, he's big on that, and from knowing him, I know that he's definitely a person big on education. A bit older than me, I remember one of the first time them when they are UA, and I was asking this person, yo, which part, where the girls at, you see me? And the man looked at me and said, Bridget, you just for the school, focus on your book. That was that was as an older person, you get me? So that's something that he emphasized, and essentially, he wanted to keep them in school. So basically, them said don't leave the club. See? Make them go and play on the ball at Chapelton Maroons, but just make sure say yo, when they're on the school training and then they're club training and the academy training and time for academy training.
Alright, so hold on, pause. So we want to follow the story. People,
Yeah.
Jogo Bonita is the real Chapelton Maroons, and them start the thing. They are the academy from Portmore. Jogo Bonita have a relationship with Clarendon College, and so come the Jogo Bonita players end up at Clarendon College. No, when the man them start get 17, 18, remember Jogo Bonita is an academy. Now the man them even start play some competitive football after the Dakar Cup season. So them approach this rich man and say, yo, come farm a club in a Clarendon, and me gonna make you get the Jogo Bonita players. You help us with the funding and the field and all of that, and we are going to secure promotion to the JPL. They secure promotion to the JPL. When the JPL money come now, the Jogo Bonita man they be in a money trouble because COVID just done, and they be need to pay off back some loan where them use to keep the academy afloat. JPL money come, the man them take a portion of the money and pay off the loan where they be used to keep Jogo Bonita afloat. So the rich man now them approach and say, yo, help with the club. I say, yo, Bridget, what I do with the money? No money this or not different money this is a loan money. You get me I say? And so money problems start. Hope everybody a follow. Money problems. That's how we reach. Continue.
Yeah, so after the money problems now, Jogo Bonita disassociated themselves. That's how we reach. Jogo Bonita decides, yo, we're going to pull away from this situation. We're not going to do this with them no more, but we still make the boy them go and play. Because at the end of the day, them just going up to Chapelton, it will affect the medication and it will affect them training with Coach Sammy at Clarendon. So they would have continued now. And now the Premier League would have started. And of course, these players had to play the Costa Cup. See? So everybody was expecting Chapelton Maroons to have a slow start. As they did. They did have a slow start. They did come out slowly out of the blocks. But that was because the vast majority of players who would have qualified them for the Premier League last year was now playing in the Costa Cup. And keep in mind, these boys were not going to sacrifice the Da Costa Cup for the Premier League team, especially now that Jogo Bonita is no longer really associated with the Premier League team. So them playing for Clarendon is more them playing for Jogo Bonita. You get me I say? In that regard. So they weren't going to sacrifice the Da Costa Cup to play in the Premier
League. But even though Coach Sammy separated himself from Chapelton Maroons, Coach Hyde, Lenny Hyde was still the coach.
Yeah, because Lenny Hyde is not a part of Jogo Bonita.
He's an employee of Chapelton Maroons.
And an employee of Clarendon College.
Right.
Yeah, but so them Coach Sammy at Jogo Bonito and Lenny Hyde work with Clarendon. Lenny Hyde not nothing for Jogo Bonito. And it was like, you're mad? Lenny Hyde can do what we do? Hell no. There's a situation like that. No, them man they're not part of Jogo Bonito. You get me I say? Coach Sammy are the man behind this. Lenny Hyde, you see me? So that's kind of the element. And Lenny Hyde was along for the ride because he's getting too money to do the same job.
Yeah.
Because he's coaching the boys that kind of the same boys. You know, have nothing fair. Just it's not like say Philip Williams or Linval Dixon or those coaches that we see transition to the JPL who they're on a different task. They're forced to coach different boys and to coach different men. My apologies. And to play football in a different way. Lenny Hyde was basically charged with coaching the same set of players, just with a few additions. And those few additions, as senior men, would just be implemented and interjected into the Chapelton Maroons team. You get me, I say? And could have helped guiding these young youths. No, the Chapelton Maroons started slowly, and the owner of the club would have approached Lenny Hyde and say, yo, what go on? You get me, I said?
Yeah.
And then I was like, just wait till the cup done, man. And then I was also promising the likes of Nick Hugh Daly and other players who would have formerly been with the Joker Bonita situation and would have formerly played under Lenny Hyde. And Lenny Hyde was like, yeah, man, them man, they were coming at January transfer window and all of the schoolboy, them are go forward, back, and everything is going to be okay. So Lenny Hyde has been coming under pressure. Has been coming under pressure from the owner of Chapelton Maroons situation, like for a long time. You get me, I say?
Yeah.
And him just say, just wait for D Cup done, just wait for D Cup done, just wait for D Cup done. And then D Cup was finished, and the boys are back in the team. They were still doing poorly. Now, according to my source, the reason why these boys are doing poorly is because D Cup done now. So now the majority of them training would have been with the Chapelton Maroons team. I know who is not at Chapelton Maroons.
Coach Sammy. And they say to come back.
Exactly. So they're saying that these boys aren't really training at Clarendon College anymore. They're much because D Cup done. So there's not that much training at school anymore. You get me, I say? So Coach Sammy would only work with some of them on the odd days when they're town, or Coach Sammy, I work with him academy in a Portmore. You get me, I say? Because D Cup done. So if them I said that's why them farm so poor, that's why them not perform as well as they were, because they don't have the trainer, they don't have the coach. Some of them getting injuries because they don't have any of the drug community staff that they were grown with, so on and so forth. And then the owner was also getting disgruntled because apparently Lenny Hyde not only promised him improved performances when his star players, the likes of Devonta Hodges and Malachi Douglas and Akimo Jones, would be reintroduced to the team, but he also promised them the additions of like standout players, the likes of Nick Hugh Daly would have been interjected into a
Star
team.
player.
Exactly. Because Lenny Hyde thought that he had the gravitas, he thought that he had the pull to get these players. But little did he know that before Clarendon College, before Chapelton Maroons, or Joga Juanita, you get me, I say? That's where these players' loyalties lie. So, but at the end of the day, they kept on pressuring Lenny Hyde for better performances, kept on pressuring Lenny Hyde for better performances wouldn't come. The boys were becoming disgruntled and annoyed. The boys were becoming frustrated because, we're not getting a good coaching, we're not getting a good training. We just done Star Manning Cup and now people are going to beat the 2 and 3 love, like they weren't happy with the JPL situation that they were placed in. Now, the new year would have come around and there would have been, I think it was 8 selections or 11 selections from Clarendon College.
It's 8.
Yeah, I think it was 8 selections into the Alder Costa Cup team, right? And Chapelton Maroons would have had to play the very next day, if I'm not mistaken. And essentially,
No, 2 days later. So the game was Thursday or Friday?
the Alder
Thursday. No. I mean the Manning Alder Costa game was a Thursday.
No, that was on the weekend.
Oh, that was a Friday?
Yeah, that was on Saturday.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they were playing the very next day. So the Alder Costa Cup, the Alder Costa Cup All Manning Cup game was on the weekend, and they were playing. So was Romain Blake.
Yeah.
And Shakwan Satchel. So there were a few players in there that would have had Premier League games the very next day. However, this should be the bulk of the Chapelton Maroons team that they would have had to field, and the owner was not very happy, and henceforth the quote-unquote Bush League comment that was made, and obviously Lenny Hyde, in a sense, was kind of given an ultimatum. He probably didn't think it was as serious as it turned out to be, but he still took his boys and he went and got his adulation. You know?
So the owner of Chapelton Maroons look for Lenny Hyde before the All-Manning game and say, yo, no carry the man go play in the Bush League.
Because we have JPL tomorrow. Like, bro, we're doing so badly in the league right now. We need to perform. Like, you can't carry the man them. And then it kind of ruffled even more feathers when Lenny Hyde would have played some of these players for like 70, 80 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and some might say that was mismanagement of the players in a high school, in a
All-Star game.
An all-star situation. Like, there's no need for all of that. You know, and then Lenny Hyde would have also had obligations to travel with this same team just a few days later. And ultimately, the owner of the Chapelton Maroon situation.
And think about it. JPL games are played at what? 4:30, probably 7. Yeah. Some of them play earlier too. Some of them, you look on 3 o'clock. They get massive depending upon the venue. You know, and them now have lights. So less than 24 hours you have a game to prepare for. The Chapelton Maroons game would be less than 24 hours because the All-Manning game would have been in the night. Yeah. You know, so then it would have, depending on where the game is, you have to go back to Clarendon, you have to settle in. They should have been in contact with the players that are ready for the game. Preparations for the JPL game would have started, but you're here at the All-Star game playing 8 of the players. But only 5 of them can play. So in the guys game, I think there are only 5 of them. You have to play 5 of our players. We have to start tomorrow. What are you doing? And this is just from the perspective of the owner.
Yeah. So, and then Lenny Hyde would have had other obligations, you know, just returning from Miami, from Florida, sorry. Today I think it was that they would have come back. So, after all of this, you know, they decided to part ways. No. Though these players are...
Who decided to part ways?
Chapelton Maroons decided to part ways.
You kind of make it sound mutual a while ago.
No. Yeah, he was fired. He was fired because of poor performances and because, you know, he
fell out with the back of it, with upstairs.
He picked him side.
Yeah.
He picked him side, essentially. You know, and now these boys were already suffering from losing the Joga Bonita support staff that they would have grown accustomed to and used to over the past 10 years of their life. And now the last familiar thing, keep in mind, these are all Kingstonians and people come from Portmore, first and foremost. All of them come from Boya. You get me, I said? So Clarendon is not home for them. That's not the case. Clarendon is not home for them. So all of them come from here. Then them lose Coach Sammy in a them program, and a Chapelton them are trained predominantly now, not Clarendon, right? And then the one last familiar thing to them would have been Coach Hyde. So at this point, they had no connection, no more connection to Clarendon, hence meaning no more connection to Joga Bonita at all. You get me, I said? So when Lenny Hyde was fired, they decided to say, yo, what's the point? You know, like, although Coach Sammy is their coach and that's the person they respect growing up with him, but what I was told by this source is that Coach Hyde, very good relationship with the boys.
Yeah.
Very good relationship with the boys, and he's very respected. And he does have notoriety, you know, as a good coach. When something random that I just remembered, when I asked him if Lenny Hyde was a part of Joga Bonito, the person said the closest Lenny Hyde can come to Joga Bonito was Jalil Hyde, who was also a member of Joga Bonito. Yeah, he was. So the person said that's the closest Lenny Hyde can come to the academy. I found that funny, but Jalil had a ball. Like, Jalil Hyde could have made it professional as a footballer.
Of course.
Yeah, so he was one of the best players in Manning Cup. Anyways, so after that, now Lenny Hyde was sacked. These boys are like, then what me idea? I'm gonna come from Clarendon. You get me? So I don't need to go to Chapelton Maroons if it don't have no connection to Clarendon College. I'm not playing a football at Clarendon College right now. So why not be closer to Joga Bonito? You get me? Because if Lenny Hyde gone, the person where we know that was the only thing keeping us there. We don't have no loyalty to Chapelton or we don't have no loyalty to Clarendon. You get me? So we only have loyalty to Clarendon College. But if Clarendon College was supposed to move to St. Anne tomorrow and still name Clarendon College, then we would have loyalty to Clarendon College.
Yeah.
Whichever part of the world Clarendon College did.
Yeah, and if Clarendon College could have done in a Kingston or just They would leave and move on to Clarendon. You get me? They are only loyal to Clarendon College.
Exactly. And by extension, Jogo Bonito. So they ended up, making some calls and they were like, why not come closer to home? You get me? I say, why not come home? Not even closer to home, come home. Now, a lot of these boys signing for these clubs would have been clubs that they were growing, that they grew up rooting for.
Mm-hmm.
And another issue too that would have arrived is the fact that because of this JPL rule, a lot of these players wouldn't have gotten to play. So what would have been the point of staying there, not getting to play? You get me? I say, and there's no coach there when them can come.
Or you're going to be pressured to sign a professional contract that you're not ready to sign.
Yeah, and Joga Bonita is not having that. He's not having they're not having any of their athletes sign any contracts because a player like Marquise Reed, apparently is being prepared to make his way to the NCAA.
Yeah.
A small kid, I'm not sure how good he'd do at the professional level. In fact, I think his chances of him taking the next step are slim to none. But I think Marquise Reed will score a lot of goals in college.
Yeah, really good player.
Yeah, I think he will score a lot of goals in college, and a lot of these players that they have the self-awareness to identify probably won't be professionals, but will strive in the NCAA. And after you do your 4 years, you come back, and his exact reference was you come back if you study accounting, you come back and you get a nice job at BOJ because of the college where you got to oversee Jamaica frightened for that. And you left BOJ and you got trained for Arnett. And Arnett pay 150,000 and BOJ pay 200,000 and so you're good. You get me? I say you're set in a life because of that. Or what can also happen is you just don't come home. Fight for yourself and you just stay in America and build a family and start a new life right there. So there are so many possibilities that can arrive from the NCAA route. Which is why they're not having any other place sign contract, and that's what led to the mass exodus of all of these players. And as you can realize, besides the ones who go to Mount Pleasant, and that's because Mount Pleasant we pay some money to play football for them.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you that, right? And besides, most of them came back to the Kingston metropolitan area. If you know,
and when you think about, because some people say the youth them still have school, how them come to town to play football. The thing is, a lot of these students are preparing for exams now.
Yeah.
You may say they are 17, even if they are 16, chances are you're preparing for CSEC. You get me? I say, you don't say your schooling are ready. We know where that go. At this point from now until May.
Joga Bonito provides tutoring for them in Portmore.
See that? So the part when we are making preparation for exam now, you can be closer to football, plus the academy that you are with, provided with tutor. They are footballers. I'm pretty sure Clarendon College have a good program in terms of, especially for the fact that a lot of their players come from outside of Clarendon. They must have a system where, the teachers have a relationship with the students or whatever. So it works. And I also said it to the bro, if it was up to me and I have a relationship with my coach and I feel like my coach got done wrong, then I probably leave too. But when you think about it, we were looking at it from the standpoint of they did coach Lenny wrong. So the players are going to move. But really and truly, if you peel back the layers a little bit, the players must have been upset from months ago when promotion was achieved, from last year when promotion was achieved, when coach Sammy was in the rift with them, with the administrative in Chapelton Maroon. So these players have been disgruntled. It's not just now when Coach Lenny got relieved. In fact, that right now that just look like a casualty award to me. Like, Coach Lenny, go and the player them side with Sammy. So them good now go training. Why we don't need you? You go on. Whenever you are the mastermind anyway. You get me? I said that was probably just a casualty. And at this point, the players pick them side. Coach Lenny pick Fiend side. And Chapelton Maroons, I don't know what happened for the club there right now. I hear that them can't get the players. What happened? They're at the bottom of the table, so demotion look like relegation look like I couldn't ever get.
I asked about Chapelton Maroons and the source was not able to provide any information on Chapelton Maroons because they don't have anybody there anymore. So
bro, it look like relegation to me, bro.
Chapelton Maroons have been having to host tryouts, bro.
I was gonna say relegation to me. They're on 2 points now after all of their deductions. So they're at the bottom of the table. Plus, they don't have any players. And even if they have players, they're not going to be the best. They are not going to be better than
What they lost.
the players that they had from Clarendon College. And the thing is, I don't know how much money Chapelton Maroons have, because remember, this club was founded on the fact that they wanted to get their older players to play some football, not try to win the Premier League. So this man is probably not a super rich man who ever try to throw money at it and win the Premier League. Like, say, a Barnet or a Mount Pleasant.
He's the president of Supreme Ventures, so super rich person.
Yeah, but the intent is probably not, oh, mega try with the league. It's probably just, oh, this a go on. You look like it can be profitable, so let's do it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's probably it. Look like it can make him some money.
Yeah. So right now, don't be surprised if them liquidate if them just sell the club or just do away with it, bro. At some point, because it's going to prove hard in the middle of the season right now. At the bottom of the table, you lost your coach, you lost your best players. I heard that they only have like 13 or 14 professional signed. So they were really relying on the schoolboys.
Yeah.
You know, and those 5 schoolboys would have been in the starting lineup every week. Remember, if you have schoolboys, chances are all of them now will play. We don't see all of the schoolboys play. You know, only the standouts get starters finish. You see me? But at Chapelton Maroons, those 5 players start the games. They are starters. So where does Chapelton Maroons go from here? In fact, we know where they're going. They're not turning up for their games. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But the real important point of this story is the relationship between Coach Sammy and Chapelton Maroons, being Joga Bonita and Chapelton Maroons. That's where it all started. Money issues are the root of all of this. If we really look back on it. Is it me I say, along with the fact that, no, money issues, can look on it. Money issues make Coach Sammy leave, because the man of pressure, they must say, you only take the money and leave.
But not only Coach Sammy, because Joga Bonita was running it. Remember, they were part owners.
Oh, so not coach, but all of the coaches and all of the people, the developmental people.
Yeah,
right?
masseuse, everybody was from the academy.
Oh.
So it was the academy that was running the program.
All right. And then Joga Bonita up and leave.
And Lenny Hyde as a figurehead.
Oh, so that means all of the maintenance gone in terms of player maintenance. So
Yeah. And as I said,
training gone.
The money that was sent in, the money that was used to pay the debt, was as a result of you know, the Joga Bonita accounting people would have gotten the money and decided to to use that money and clear the loan.
Oof.
So it was a case where it was just simply Joga Bonita response for running the club. The owner was just there to provide funding and the field. But all of the club's affairs were run by. So immediately, this man had to all of a sudden find people to run his club.
People, you see what I got. So even for the person watching back on the replay, man, this kind of crazy situation, and this is a lot. We found out a lot of information today, bro. We never know. Say this go back to last year. This actually back to last year when they received promotion, and you know money are gonna come with that.
Yeah,
that's where it all started. Crazy, and maybe when the whole idea of the club started, bro, they didn't even know the rule of only having 5 amateur players play. And they probably never know that rule. So that probably did box them.
Or else them probably would have just stayed in the second division.
Yeah, or them would have been better prepared for it. You get me? I say, or maybe a conversation would have been had, you know, with Joga Bonita and Chapelton Maroons about the money and taking lesser or whatever to facilitate having some more pro players. Because I'm pretty sure if they knew, why would I go into the season with less than 20 professional players? You get me? I say, it don't even make sense. It don't even make sense at this point. You see me, man, Nigel Allen says, so Hull have another season at CC. Christopher Hull, check it, he's 18 years old, but his birthday is 13th of September. That make him 19 after the season starts. And probably could have played again, no, bro.
Yeah, Hull have a next season, but I don't think Hull is going to play again. And I think Devontae Hodges will play again to the dislike or to the disapproval of Joga Bonita.
All right, so Devontae Hodges is what, 17?
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably in 5th form.
Yeah.
Might see a transfer, bro. We might see Devontae Hodges in the Manning Cup.
We're not going to see a transfer because Joga Bonita is still at Clarendon College.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Joe Bonita
Jogo
still a
Bonita
player.
and Clarendon College are still one.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
has
yeah.
not changed. You know,
True, true.
it's just the relationship with Chapelton Maroons. So
Yeah.
trust me, like you will see a lot of players make their way to Clarendon College, and a lot of players get transferred in like grade 9 and so on and so forth. And people would be like, oh, CC a recruit, CC a CCFC, so on and so forth. Apparently, that's not the case. So that was the
So
first,
they're not the JC of the Costa Cup.
yeah, that's the first bone that was picked with me, saying it's not CC a recruit, just a tech ballers from other schools. All these players would have come up through the same developmental program that's responsible for running Clarendon College.
Hmm.
So that was
Yeah.
interesting. That's the
Interesting insight.
That's the situation that has been going wrong with Chapelton Maroons.
Yeah, so that's it, people. That's it. What's the most shocking part of the story to you?
Um,
I know mine, you know. So if you think about it, we can tell you right off the bat.
what up?
Lenny Hyde at the figurehead bridging, like what? Oh, I always know about Coach Sam. Anybody, yeah, in and around Jamaican football, you know who that man is. They get me and say, hear people speak highly of him. When they speak about Andre Blake, anybody will pass through Clarendon College.
Yeah.
They get me and say, I know a few players personally will pass through Clarendon College. They speak highly of him. But to say Coach Lenny Hyde is just a figurehead, as me said, probably a bit of exaggeration. But when I think back to it, when Lenny Hyde came to Kingston College while I was there, never do great. I end up on leave and go CC. You get me and say, maybe even those times Coach Sammy wasn't around. You get me and say, but Lenny Hyde did have him name from before CC.
Yeah, wait, let me read some comments, bro.
All right, so South Cry, big up for passing through again, always passing through the lives. I'm very sorry all this had gone, as it just give the haters a reason to destroy Lenny and CC. Lenny coaching is what we need at national level.
Well,
All right. As we said, South Cry based man, you know, our sources. You know, Coach Lenny isn't really the coach of the system that you love.
yeah.
So you saying that Coach Lenny is what Jamaica need at national level. You are probably saying without even knowing that Coach Sammy is what Jamaica need at national level. Without even knowing, you get me? I say, obviously people, this is from our sources. This is, we can't say we didn't get it, but we trust the sources.
KC never play like this.
No, KC never play like this.
Not play like ball.
No.
They did
I
not
remember and when Coach Lenny left and went to CC, brought a few players with him. I remember Hunter went to CC. A couple of players went down there, you get me? I say, so it's not like KC did love what Lenny do. That's not the case at all.
Hunter worked with Jogo Bonita as well.
Same thing. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe Coach Sammy was there at KC. I am not sure. You get me? I say, but just say, oh, Coach Lenny, you didn't have him name before.
That time, Coach Sammy would have probably been at Wilmer's.
Mm.
And then Jaheim Rose would have gone there, and Javier Lynch would have gone to Wilmer's with Coach Sammy. Those are two Jogo Bonita players. In that
Early
time.
days.
Yeah. And before Sammy moved down to Clarendon and Lenny moved down to Clarendon, and I guess it was a match made in heaven. So
yeah, you know what we don't like, and I think we can try and set it up. An interview with Coach Lenny Hyde, bro. You know, just sit down and reason and get a real understanding of the situation, and also, you know, put that to him. You know, how much of his system is really Coach Sammy. You see me? Why not? That would be a good conversation. But what is the most surprising part of the story to you?
It's just always interesting to learn about these intricate backstories. You know, I was not I've heard the name Jogo Bonita before, and I know that it's associated with football, probably a football.
I know it's like a ballers or a football factory or just a place to go and play football. I know about Jogo Bonita, the place. I didn't know about it being an academy.
That's where they train.
Right.
That's where they train. So that in a Portmore.
Yeah,
so,
but we know exactly where they.
Yeah, so that's where it all. So when they win the 3 Premier League.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Then he had won the Premier League. You get me? I said, so you can't say he's a coach and know what I do. Mm-hmm. No, if you are talking about this specific system
and the way how the college team has been playing.
Right, if you are talking about this specific Clarendon College system, and you say you have to credit all of that to Coach Sammy, then fine. But before Clarendon College, coach Lenny Hyde has his name, and he's known as a really good coach in Jamaican football. In fact, Coach Lenny Hyde get jobs at the national level already. They get me and say, so, but now I gotta say Coach Lenny Hyde can't coach. Obviously the source, I gotta say where I say, but me now I gotta say Coach Lenny Hyde can't coach. But if I talk about the specific system, me I go hold up me and say, yo, you know more than me, source. If you say this a Coach Sammy system, then fine. But Nigel Allen, that's a very good comment. So when he did win the Team Premier League, where is Sammy? Yeah, good comment. Also from South Cry. Only the CC youths are willing to listen and follow Lenny instructions because of the fact that he is a past student and a hero of CC. And maybe that's where the relationship come from.
Yeah, but as I said, these youths apparently they're Jogo Bonito. That is what they are, you know. So it's a case where under 14 and under 16 still Jogo Bonito. You get me? I say they just pump them up and send them to Clarendon College. That's all it is. They just pump them up and pump them out, send them to Clarendon College. When they're 11 or 12, Clarendon College. Some parents don't want to send them kid to go board, so those them try to get them in Jamaica College because JC, you know, contrary to what people might believe, saying JC don't develop players, I genuinely think that's not true.
It's not their MO, but they do. We'll talk about. We know a couple players coming from 7th grade. Rasika Rose was there early, even though he didn't start the school. Romian Blake was there from first form. Xavier Davidson was there from first form. Dylan John is there from early.
Yeah, as I said, Jamaica and Jamaica College, they always do well in the youth competitions.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that when you reach Manning Cup now, you probably just can't make the team no more. Because I can bring in somebody else for Manning Cup, but at Manning Cup, I don't think we're developing players anymore. You get what I say? But at the under 14 level and at the under 16 level.
Yeah, in an under 19 competition, in an under 19 competition, development is important, but development is not a thing. You should be close to where you want to be as a player. You know, under 19, right after the competition, you should be out of here. If we're talking about real football, in the football world, no 19-year-old now still talk about development. You're looking for your move.
Yeah, so people saying JC is not good at development. I don't think that's the case. I think because they recruit so heavily, that's why they get that bad name, that bad stereotype. But it's untrue. So Jogo Bonito sends a lot of their players to the Jamaica College situation. You know, but apparently they're branching out now and they're trying to make partnerships with other schools to facilitate players going into other schools so that not all of them has to go to Clarendon College. You know, but yeah, bro, that's essentially the situation with the Chapelton Maroons.
Yeah. People watching back on the replay, tell us what's the most surprising part about this story to you. You took up all of the show today, by the way. We're over the 1 hour mark. As we expected, yeah, we only plan to talk about this today because we knew that this would be a long one. Yeah, what's the most surprising thing? Let's do a quick recap of the story, bro. Alright, so anywhere we miss out, just pick up. Z, you told the story, I'm gonna do the recap. So, Jogo Bonito is an academy in Portmore.
Yep.
You know, a lot of youngsters that started a couple years ago. These youngsters at some point needed to play at a higher level. You know? Jogo Bonito is run by Coach Sammy. He's the most important part of Jogo Bonito.
Run by It's not run by Coach Sammy, but he's the coach. He's the senior.
He's the coach, yeah. He's responsible for developing the players.
Yeah, them have administration and everything else around the club.
All right, so he's the coach of Jogo Bonito, and the most important in terms of making things happen. Coach Sammy is the
man. I would say he's probably the technical director.
Right. No, Coach Sammy also has a relationship with Clarendon College because he's the assistant coach at Clarendon College, and I assume he has a relationship with Coach Lenny Hyde.
Yeah.
Right. Because of that relationship with Clarendon College, a lot of these players from Jogo Bonito find their way to Clarendon College to play schoolboy football.
Find their way, they're sent there. They know that regardless of them, for them 5 schools them pick for, a shot.
Yeah. No matter where you pass for, you got Clarendon College.
Yeah.
All right. They know at Clarendon College, you play schoolboy football, you know you reach 16, 17, 18. Now it's time to exit the schoolboy football system and play some real big man competitive football. No, Jogo Bonito didn't want to send their players all over the country. So we need to keep them close to home same way. We still need them under the coaching of Coach Sally. So here what we need a club. We need a club. What we're gonna do? We need a club. All right, which FA are one of the easier one them, and it's close to the school over there right now. Forget all of these players training. Let's check Chapelton, right up the road. So they went and found this rich guy. I need to get his name. I need to start, calling people their name. Went to this rich guy, sold him the idea, of having Chapelton Maroons partnering with Kleinland College and partner with Jogo Bonito to get their players as a filter them to the club system to play some big man football. No, in the first year of creating this club or getting this club to play competitive football, they secured promotion to the JPL. No, with promotion comes funding. The JPL and the sponsors provide funding to the teams that are promoted. No, Jogo Bonita, because they are just coming out of COVID, were now strapped for cash because they had to take loans and they needed to keep the program afloat. They took this promotion money. I don't know if it's all of it, but they took a lot of this money and they paid off those loans that got them through the COVID period. Now the man when them sell the idea to the owner of Chapelton Maroons is now upset at this. Why are you taking the money that we just secured promotion with to clear your debts? Me never did it when you created it, so me know why I take from my pocket. No, a lot of people call this short-sightedness as I will. You get me? I say, but this is what happened. So a year ago, or in last year, a rift started with the owner and the coaching staff. Also Jogo Bonito, right? No, started the Premier League season. They mean I thought Coach Sammy left because you're calling thief at this point. Like see what we see. So we are cut. You get me? I say the whole Jogo Bonito man them cut. Gone. Jogo Bonito has no relationship with Chapelton Maroons at this
Jogo
point.
Bonito was not only responsible for coaching the kids, but the trainers were Jogo Bonito. People from administration who would have run the academy were now also responsible for running the club. And all of that would have left Chapelton Maroons.
Gone. Jogo Bonito, that is responsible for the football, responsible for getting them promoted, to be honest. This is where it's their idea, it's their players, it's their system, it's their football. Mm-hmm. They left. Now the players were still there. Coach Lenny Hyde was still there. They started the Premier League season, and a lot of people will say, because the Jogo Bonito system left, that directly affected the football that was played. And so the poor performances started. No, because of these poor performances, the owner and the heads of the club started to apply pressure to Lenny Hyde. What is going on? You're a big coach. Why you not get the results here? Same players. Why you not get the results? No, Coach Lenny Hyde was put under pressure. He promised, the heads some better results. After the schoolboy football season, he promised to get them some star players. That would boost the profile of the club. Promised things will start ticking after the schoolboy football season, essentially. Transfer window go, but we're going to start to some things. Right? Didn't happen. Schoolboy football done. None of that go on. Still I get 2 love, still I get 3 love. Still playing awful football. Remember, Coach Sammy and Jogo Bonito left. Remember that? No. A week and a half ago, the players from the Kleinland College, who are the winners of the Da Costa Cup, a couple of them, the most important ones, the best ones that also play for Chapelton Maroons. What you say?
And Oliver Shield.
The ones that play for Chapelton Maroon, they got selected in the All Money versus All Da Costa All-Star game for the All Da Costa team. No, the owner would have said to Coach Lenny Hyde, Bridging, a Bush League, you have to take the man and go play. We have a match tomorrow. Chapelton Maroons are going to play a match tomorrow. I have to take some of our best players, because them can use 5. 5 of them best players from Chapelton Maroons. You have to take 5 of our best players. And bro, I would be surprised if these are the 5 best players, honestly. You have to take 5 of our best players and go play an all-star game with little Pitney. Just a try. You see me? I try and be animated, of course. You have to take players and you bring them to play Bush League. Big man, don't do it. No, against that advice, then he had still to the players. He was the coach of the team, by the way. Yeah. And the players earned it. I believe that they should be there. This club should have been run properly, and you should have professional players, and 5 players shouldn't hurt you for 1 game. No. Then he took the players, went to play the All Acosta game. No, this is where we probably are going to see where the man you can't play the players for that much of the game and them have a game tomorrow, especially if you're the coach and you're going to use them. Take them off after. Take them off 30 minutes. Just let them get a feel, whatever. It's an all-star game. It's not important. No, after this, the owner was livid. What are you doing? You take them and go play a Bush League and now we're going to play them tomorrow. And yes, they lost the game. Upset after this, Coach Lenny was fired. And this is the story. Jogo Bonita and Chapelton Maroons really had the relationship. That relationship turned bitter when promotion, they achieved promotion to the JPL and got that JPL money. That's when the problem started. Not after the results started bad, but when they received promotion to the JPL. What do you think about the recap, bro?
It sounds like you didn't listen, bro.
No, man, Reggie, no matter what they are class, you're not the back of the class. I want
Yeah,
to pass something right now.
I'm the back of the class.
I want to pass something right, man. Cool up.
And I'm back of the class.
All right, hold on. So, South Cry said, Coach Lenny and Sammy pays a lot of attention to how the team plays, which is not the Jamaican way. The Jamaican way focuses more on individual play, but it's a team game. I like the way Klein and College play, and the Coach Sammy and Coach Lenny system, I love it personally. Obviously, a lot of times I call it overkill and they're overplaying, but like, watch it, it's entertaining.
They definitely play differently than everybody else you've seen. They emphasize on the triangle and they emphasize on movement and they don't have a lot of runners, bro. Sometimes they say Marquis Reed might take a one man, but they don't have a lot of runners.
Yeah, and they score a lot of goals from midfield. They score a lot of goals from wing. They're not a team, and a lot of teams also play with a focal point. You know, whether that be on the wing or their star players on the wing or they have a focal point. I don't think Klein and College have one focal point. It's just wherever your space is, we're going to dominate there. You know, they get goals from midfield, they get goals from wide, you know, goals from their defense.
And Dixon bangs in goals up top.
Yeah, I love the way they play. I love the system. Excellent. Some real journalism work. Orlando Nicholas, big up yourself. Much respect. Give Joe Murray all the props. He did the research, he got his source, and I know the source, but I didn't get the information. But all his work. South Cry, great summary. Big up yourself. Emails the front of the class was full of subject. Can I lie, bro? You're not tell a lie.
You can tell the people how much subject you have, or you not tell them.
A couple, bro. I forgot. It's half a man. Just know say half a man.
Damn.
Light flex. But yeah, still talk that, bro. Where else you want to go with it? Also, I'm hearing that Portmore United is also getting punished. For Shaquan Satchel, he was apparently at Waterhouse a couple years ago, and the transfer didn't take place. So he's now playing for Portmore United because the proper paperwork wasn't done. They are now facing some repercussions, and Portmore United is also losing points because Shaquan Satchel played in a couple games, bro. So that's kind of weird. Why are these clubs run so badly, bro? Like who not? Somebody get fired for that, you know?
Bro, just look no further than Italy, with Juventus in the situation that they're in because of mismanagement. So that's not indigenous. Poorly run clubs are not indigenous, bro. You know, just look at Chelsea and the mess that they're in. You know, just look at Manchester United. But what you know, we can continue. Yeah, as I said, this was basically what I talked about. You know, I wanted to touch on some ways to improve the Premier League, but that can be for the next episode of Studio Talks. You know, me and the Sword were speaking, and you know, we had a good long conversation about football. You know, this is most centered around this, but from this came a lot of ideas that in the next episode of Studio Talk we will you see them say Lemar Walker was at Portmore before Jogo Bonita was created, but that's what they think. So, 1 second, I'm going to look at the source to tell me if look for something, so I gotta look.
Yeah, man. So this is the situation, people. Obviously, we would like to get from, you know, Coach Lenny side. Try to contact him and see if he's willing to come on the program and just. I don't want to know more than his side, to be honest, because Coach Lenny is a popular figure in Jamaican football. So I'd like to hear where it all started. Walk it back to some of his National League wins and some of the players that passed through his hands, you know? Schoolboy football, the Manning Cup, all of that. I don't have to talk to you. He was also a good footballer. I obviously didn't see him. But yeah, I'd
So
love to do it.
you know them with it?
Yeah.
Man like Lynch from at all the time.
Man said Jogo Bonita was created in about 2018, so Imasa Lamar Walker was at Portmore United before Jogo Bonita.
No, from what I'm hearing, Lemar Walker was a big part of the Joga Bonita in the early days. So maybe before they were renowned, maybe before they were official. But the same
Yeah, and the
people,
truth is, two things can be true.
yeah,
If he was good enough, him can be a part of.
no, but
Maybe joke about it that system, they didn't have a feel all the time or whatever, but maybe Coach Sammy, the point is Coach Sammy was responsible for that.
yeah. And as I said, they were remember I said it, they were closely related to Portmore United,
Yeah.
before the situation with Lemar Walker.
Oh,
Where Lemar
seems like he just trained with Coach Sammy. So that's really the point. And Jogo Bonita, after Lamar's Walker situation, Joe was saying that relationship also got better.
Jogo Bonita had a very good relationship with Portmore until how they handled Lemar Walker situation. And Lemar Walker never Jogo Bonita was not compensated any at all, even though they were responsible for developing Lemar Walker. Them couldn't get a 10 grand. Couldn't get a 15,000 for just buy back some ball. Considering that we were the one who developed them. You get me I say? So that's why Jogo Bonita kind of split off from Portmore United and went and did their own thing. So people might, as I said, Jogo Bonita might just be so closely associated with Portmore United that people might not even have known about. Because you see them as a Sammy. And from what I'm hearing, Sammy is Jogo Bonita.
Yeah.
And them now listen. Sammy is Jogo Bonita. So Sammy and his team would have probably been responsible for developing those players. And so maybe it might not have been called Jogo Bonita at the time, but Coach Sammy had an academy with his team, the same team that are working with Clarendon right now. The same exact set of people were there then developing youth players, and most of them would just transition into Portmore United after they would have, you get me I say? They would have leave and so they would have stick around and transition into Portmore United. But they are a part of Jogo Bonita Academy until eventually they split up because of the Lemar Walker situation.
Yeah. Alright. We that?
Yeah?
Yeah, man, people, before you leave, obviously, because it's studio talk, it's not just a live, so now let's stretch it out and look at too much interaction. People, we are going to be in the comment section. We're going to, this will not be, you won't have a live chat, but we'll be there, so talk to us in the comment section.
You're good? Are you okay?
Yeah. Alright. Anyways, people are with that. Like the video. Subscribe to this side at Sports TV. Please subscribe to this side at Sports TV. Me have big one. Oh God, me have big one. Subscribe.
All of these players, Jones, Hull, they're saying we're all a part of Portmore youth teams. That's just how close the relationship with Jogo Bonita and Portmore United was.
Work on a phone line soon.
Definitely.
I get the mixed on thing. Don't worry about it. Anyways, tell them what else we know.
Portmore United was the one that sent Lamar to CC.
Say what?
This one broker that said Portmore sent Lamar Walker to Clarendon College.
And you're saying not true.
And I'm saying Jogo Bonita and Portmore had a very, very close relationship. You get me I say? And Demario Phillips, that's another one that Lenny Hyde would have promised would have come over. And was unsuccessful. Yeah.
Cha-cha.
That Demario Phillips and Nicky Daly were two players who were supposed to be a part of the Chapelton Maroons in addition to all the schoolboy players. So this was where it was all stemming from. And as I said, this was an inside source, a person who also worked with Lemar Walker. A person who was also involved with Lemar Walker. And Rush, you probably don't know, but like this, every time we go a reggae boy game, this person has said, Lemar Walker like a theme ball of that. I ain't never seen it without fire. You get me I said? Lemar Walker always theme baller from them time there. So this is where it all come from. So maybe it might not have been called Jogo Bonita, but They were
Coach
def-
Sammy. That's the point. It's not even the name. It's Coach Sammy.
yeah, and they were definitely working with the youth independent of Portmore United. That's a fact. But because of their close relationship with Portmore United and they weren't playing in Casafars and catching FA competitions, they would have probably represented Portmore. But the academy that they would have been a part of would have been, you know, Joe Governor.
Yeah, people them say Coach Sammy is the mastermind of it all. What you think? What you think? What you think? Man said Portmore also sent Lamar to prep school. Yeah, what else you want to do for you, bro?
Share the video. You get me? I say, you know, easy share. You know, this video is very informative, and I want a lot of people to hear this. You know, I think for the good research, oh God, man, make the video get some love. You get me? I say, and
Yeah.
if you can get us at least 10 subscribers, you know how many subscribers that would get us?
By when?
Yeah. Sorry,
You're good. You're good.
I
You're
was
good.
reading the comments. One
No,
brother,
no, I'm to the fella here, like him and know what time it is. People are weird that still in this was studio talk. And
very
yeah.
special edition.
What you say?
Very special edition.
Yeah, very special edition. Obviously, we want to provide more content like this to you guys, man. It will come with time. It will come with time. Thank you for passing through. Subscribe before you leave. Share the thing before you leave. And we're out. Studio talk. Gone.